If you're a dependent of an H-1B visa or an L-1 visa, on H-4, on L-2, and you're stuck overseas, you may be eligible to get your visa now under a special exemption to the current proclamation. So watch this video and I'll tell you more. Since the June 22nd executive order that banned H-1, L-1, H-2B, and J-1 visas, we really had no guidance as to what's happening with the dependents of people that are currently stuck overseas while this order was put into place. This was actually one of the main issues that people are concerned about, and we're posting a lot of questions. What happens to dependents of these L1 and H1B visas that were currently in the United States when this order is signed, but their family members were abroad without visas? Are they exempt from this proclamation? And how can these family members join their spouses in the US? So this was a major concern, major issue, and I'll talk about this in this video. Before that, if you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel, click this bell to be notified because videos come out every single week and I want to make sure you don't miss them. And also give us that big like to make sure that YouTube is going to show this video to as many people as possible. My name is Jacob Sapochnik and I am an immigration attorney located in San Diego, California, and we represent clients in all 50 states. And of course, right now during these crazy times, we try to provide this information to you every single week through videos and live updates just for your benefit. And of course, it's based on your question. This particular video I'm making them because so many people are asking this, and I wanted to make sure that we address this particular issue. So since the June 22nd proclamation came out, all that we knew basically was that these classes of visas were banned, including their family members. So it was very unclear what happens if, let's say, like one of our clients who holds an H-1B visa and he was in the United States on the date that proclamation executive order came into effect, but his family members, his wife and kids that were waiting back home to get their H-4 visas, and they already were scheduled for interviews, they were just waiting, what was going to happen with them? Because you can imagine how many people were worried that they were in the US, and then not only that this executive order kind of banned these visas until December, the end of December, but also specifically it had a provision there that family members are also excluded. So people essentially were freaking out, and literally maybe 24 days into the executive order, we now finally have some guidance and some regulations as to what's happening with these dependents. So according to the State Department, they specifically said that H4 and L2 dependents, if their spouses were in the United States at the time of the proclamation, they are exempt from this proclamation and they are allowed to obtain their visas at the US embassies. And now it's a question of when those embassies are going to reopen. Every country has a different schedule. We've done quite a few videos on that. As those embassies are going to reopen, those dependents can immediately schedule their appointments and get their dependent visas H4 and L2. And this is really an important update that the State Department put it on their website, and we can link it in this video, and specifically saying that dependents are exempt from this proclamation, which was a major relief for a lot of family members. And you can imagine that professionals, software engineers, researchers, company executives that are moving back and forth, that they're here trying to build their businesses, and now their family members are not going to be able to come. This was a major concern. And like I said, for almost 24 days, it was an uncertainty. We didn't know what to tell our clients. Other attorneys were in the same limbo. We didn't have any guidance from the State Department, but now we finally do have those guidance. So we'll be able to now help clients to be able to get their dependent visas in their respective consulates. The State Department also updated that if you are a principal applicant, so let's say you are an H-1B visa holder or an L-1 visa holder, and you were in the United States on June 24th, which is the date of the proclamation, and then you left with an expired visa, and now you're back home because you had to go for a family emergency or whatever reason that is, they clearly stated in the regulations that that kind of person is not subject to the proclamation. So once again, if you were in the United States on June 24th, which is the date this proclamation came into effect, on an H or an L visa or an H-2B visa, and then you left and your visa already expired, and then you were basically overseas, you can apply for a visa. You're exempt from this proclamation before December 30th. So you can go ahead and apply for a visa that is clearly stated there, you and your dependents. So it's not just for the dependents, but it's also for the principal that left the US after the date of the proclamation with an expired visa. Now the person is overseas without a visa. That person can also come back to the United States and apply for a visa under this exemption. Of course, this doesn't help us if the consulates and embassies are still closed, but the good news is that as of July 15th, embassies are starting to reopen. So we highly encourage you to check with your individual consulate or embassy to make sure that they are open and they're able to process your visa. And of course, at that point, you're not going to be subject to the proclamation based on this update that I just mentioned. And finally, if you're an H-1B or an L visa candidate and you're stuck overseas and you were not in the US on June 24th when this proclamation took place, you are obviously subject to the ban, but there are exemptions. So if you're a public health professional, healthcare professional, or any other professional that is traveling to the United States to alleviate and help with the COVID-19 crisis, you may be able to get an exemption from the ban at the US Embassy in your country. So we are finding quite a few of these exemptions. So it's good to see if you qualify for this kind of exemption, but they're taking them. The other kind of exemption for an H-1B that is coming based on requests by US government agency, again, those are also exempted from the ban and are able to go to the US Embassy, present the documents to prove the exemption, and get their visas outside of the ban. So there's quite a few exceptions that people can still apply, and I highly encourage you to try, because you'll be surprised that the government is quite flexible to issue those exceptions for the people that meet the requirements, of course. So the bottom line is, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you are dependent of an H-1B or an L-1 visa, H-4, L-2, you are now eligible to get a visa even before December, which is you're outside of the ban. And again, it's really important to do two things. The first thing is to stay in contact with your US Embassy and consulate in your country. Remember, they are now reopening, and it's your responsibility to email them to let them know to inquire as to when they're going to start scheduling appointments. And when they do, you have to try to schedule your appointment and make sure that they understand that you're not part of this proclamation, you're exempt. Again, the website, we're going to link the link, so you'll be able to print it and even use it at the appointment if needed to show them that you're exempt. The second thing, it's really important to prepare all your documents for your visa right now and get ready and do whatever it takes because embassies and consulates are reopening, and I know it's still slow, and I know many countries are still closed. The reality is that you're not subject to this proclamation as dependents, and you should be able to do whatever it takes to be able to join your families. And if you are an H-1B holder or an L holder and you left the country and now you're trying to get your visas, you are also exempt from this proclamation, and that was also in the guidance. So you can go ahead and, if your consulate's reopened, go ahead and immediately schedule the appointment and get your visas. The only ones that are impacted by this are new H-1B and Ls that were never in the US at that time, and they're stuck overseas and trying to get their visas. Those should apply for exemptions, and we mentioned them before, and I think it's worth it to try it because they're definitely approving more of those. So we're going to get some more guidance on other issues. People are asking about job transfers, what happens if their cases are denied, they're trying to file for new applications while they're in the US. We're still waiting for more and more guidance, but as of now, those two main points are dependents can do it, and also actual visa holders that were in the US at the time of the proclamation, but then they left, they can also get visas, which is really, really important, and we're really worried about those classes of people. So once again, if you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. I'm going to try to answer them throughout the week as well. And also, we have a private Facebook group where I encourage you to join that group, and we have a link in the description of this video. In the group, we share ideas, we talk about different developments in a safe environment, so you don't have to worry about trolls or people who are going to be harassing you because you share your information. So I highly encourage you, join our group. I want to see you there as well. So Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the other side.